there, cadets! Today we're going to be talking about trombone and euphonium embouchure. To start off, we're going to zoom in here in just a minute and I will discuss in detail and show you exactly close up what your embouchure should look like, and we'll discuss what a basic buzz should sound like. I'm not going to talk about how to assemble your instrument or which buttons or which slide positions you're supposed to use. I'll simply use a number corresponding to the slide position or which valves you're supposed to put down. You'll have to watch the other videos to translate what that means to you. We're going to make this a quick video. We'll discuss a little bit about buzzing, a little bit about your embouchure, and the first 5 notes. Let's get started right away and we'll zoom in and discuss what your embouchure should look like. Okay. Now that we're closer, what I'm going to do is discuss the syllables, and then I will turn my head to the side so you can see what is happening with my facial makeup, and I'll put my mouthpiece up to my face and we'll do some demonstrations. The first thing you need to do is understand that your mouthpiece should be halfway on the top lip and halfway on the bottom lip. You should say the syllable You want a flat surface. If anything, the corners go back and down just a little bit, but not a smiling posture. You need to use plenty of air. Think about an open throat. You want to breathe through this very open throat. Make sure your lips are wet and they need to be touching. Your teeth should also be just a little bit apart. So, when I turn my face off to the side, I say, nice flat lips, wet embouchure, and lots of air. Your lips should vibrate very easily without any problem. If not, they might not be touching and they might not be wet. So try one of those 2 things and then make sure you're using enough air. We'll try it again, but this time with the mouthpiece. Wet embouchure, plenty of air, lips are touching, halfway top lip, halfway bottom lip. Try that with me. Okay, now what you need to understand about embouchure is that your mouthpiece is the instrument. The rest of it is just a fancy speaker. If you can't make a buzz here, you won't make a sound on the instrument. So make sure you do a little bit of mouthpiece buzzing from time to time to work on that. I encourage you to practice just on the mouthpiece and to practice what this embouchure is supposed to sound like. If you have issues, try wetting your lips, make sure your lips are together, use lots of air, and make sure the mouthpiece is placed correctly. Those are a few things to look for first. Now we're going to zoom out and talk about the first 5 notes. Okay, again, I will be demonstrating with a trombone today. I'm using an F attachment trombone, but I will not be using the F attachment. It's just simply, I'm just explaining why I have more tubing than you do. I can play some of my notes in a first position with my trigger down, but I'm not going to do that because most of you will not have that attachment on your instrument, not as beginners anyway. So, the first note we're going to learn is a low B flat. It's in first position on the trombone, and it's an open valved position for euphonium and baritone. So I'm going to put my instrument up, we're assembled, everything is great, my slide is unlocked. I'm going to use that same embouchure that we talked about before. Wet lips, open throat, lots of air, make sure your lips are touching, mouthpiece half and half. Try that with me. Lots of air, wet lips, flat embouchure, mouthpiece half and half, make sure your lips are touching. The next note we'll talk about is a C. On trombone, it's all the way out in 6th position. On the euphonium and baritone, it's 1st and 3rd valve. Try that with me. Now, as a beginning trombone player, that 6th position can be very difficult to find, especially if you're very young and small in stature. It's okay. Usually a 6th position is going to be about as far out as your arm can go. And what you need to do is try to listen as best you can for that whole step from B flat to C. Listen carefully. Listen for that pitch. If you're not far enough out, it might sound more like this. hear the difference? Let's try that again. B flat, then C. Okay, make sure you get all the way out to 6th position. But as a beginning trombone player, I'm going to be happy with you doing your best and getting your arm out as far as you can. If you notice that it's actually too far out, then good job. That's okay too. Just make sure your 6th position is where it's supposed to be. The next one that we're going to learn is a D. If you're playing trombone, it'll be 4th position, and if you're playing euphonium or baritone, this will be your 1st and 2nd valve. Did you check your embouchure? Everything should be flat. Corners maybe back and down just a little bit. Wet lips, teeth apart. Make sure your lips are touching. Open throat, lots of air. Let's try it again. D. Okay, your next note is an E flat in 3rd position for the trombone players, 1st valve for the euphonium and baritone. Play that with me. Ready? And your last note is an F. 1st position, open valves. Let's try them all together. B flat, 1st valve, or open position. C, 6th position, 1 and 3. D, 1 and 2 for the baritone and euphonium, or 4th position. 3rd position will be your E flat, or 1st valve on the baritone and euphonium, and then back to 1st position or an open combination. Ready? B flat. Next is C. D is next. Now E flat. And F. Very good. Those are your first 5 notes that I usually teach to beginning band students. You'd be surprised how many songs you can play with just those first 5 notes. Always check your embouchure. Make sure your lips are wet. Make sure the lips are touching. You'd be surprised how much of a buzz comes really naturally if you just catch those first 2 things and gently place your mouthpiece on the lips. Lots of air and an open throat, and your teeth are just a little bit apart. It's not a difficult embouchure to get started with, although it is difficult to kind of get the sound initially just because you're not used to making those noises. And that's okay, practice will make you better. I encourage you to practice a small amount every day for the first few weeks because your brain will absorb the knowledge a little bit better than if you, say, do it every Sunday night for 60 minutes. Always a good idea to practice in small amounts frequently, especially when learning a new instrument or music is new to you altogether. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at the address listed below. I wish you the best of luck, and I hope you keep practicing.